Hello. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about a common piece of equipment that people have in all tanks, whether they be saltwater or freshwater, and that would be having a tank heater. Now, tank heaters are one of those things that can easily make or break your tank. You can have thousands of dollars worth of equipment and everything, but if your tank heater goes out on you or the sensor system malfunctions and the tank heater stays on, it can kill your tank in a hurry. Now, one of the things that makes these so interesting is that they are a essential part, in particular marine aquariums and to a certain extent freshwater aquariums, depending on what you're running. Now, my personal favorite in terms of bang for buck is the Eheim Jager tank heaters. They are they're not expensive, they're very reliable once you get them dialed in. They can be a little bit of a pain to get kind of evened out and dialed in when you first get them in, but once you get them dialed in, they're very reliable. They'll stay usually within about a degree or so of your desired temperature, and they're not super expensive. You can pick up a good size one, like a 260 to 300 watt unit for, I don't know, $30 to $40. So not super expensive. Mine, other than the bit of Coraline that's on there, is actually in pretty good shape. It's pretty clean. My turbo snails actually like to clean it for me. So anyways, if you're looking for a good, reliable tank heater, my recommendation would be to go with one of these Eheim Jagers. Now, mine is overkill for this tank. It's actually a 300 watt unit. The reason being on that is that I had a 260 watt that had a malfunction in it. The mechanism would not shut off, so the tank was having a tendency to overheat, so I returned it. But the only thing they had available that I could swap it with directly at the time was a 300 watt. So I went ahead and did it, and it's been running great ever since. The advantage is that since it's oversized for the tank, it runs a lot less than the 260 watt would, because it takes less effort for it to heat up and warm up a tank of this size. So generally it just stays on for a minute or so, and then it cuts off for a while. And at this time of the year, it doesn't really come on that much because, the outside temperatures in the house warms up a bit more. So anyway, word of caution, just a general word of caution for tank heaters. Particularly for marine tanks, you want to make sure you don't select one that is one of those non-adjustable tank heaters. There's just too much variation with them, and quite frankly, you have less control and too many things that can go wrong with them. And as mentioned, when you have options like this for a relatively low cost, it's just kind of a no-brainer just to get a solid tank heater where you have the option to adjust the temperature, particularly, if you have a seasonal climate like I live in, where you can get freezing in the winter and then boiling hot in the summer. So anyways, it's just a good idea all around to have a good solid tank heater. They're not super expensive. The one other thing that I strongly recommend, even though I'm a big advocate of used equipment, never do a used tank heater. You don't know what it's been through. You don't know what's happened to it, what it's been subjected to, if it's been through, bad wiring, just whatever it's been subjected to from its prior owner, whether it was maintained or it made some effort to keep it clean and not gunked up. So, and then of course the natural fact that after a certain amount of time, a tank heater does burn out and you have to replace it. So given the fact that it can literally control life and death in your tank, and a brand new one costs, a reliable one like this Eheim Jager here, costs about $30 to $40, do you really think it's a good investment to cut corners on that, to try and use and take a gamble with a used tank heater? So anyways, those are kind of my recommendations, and overall, as I said, if you're looking to get a solid tank heater without spending a ton of money, Eheim Jager is really tough to beat for the money. They're good setup, lots of options, pretty reliable. I've had this guy in here for, I want to say about, yeah, almost 2 years now. I've had this guy for going on 2 years and never had a problem with it. And that's all I've got, and thanks for watching.